The phone's ring shattered the quiet of my afternoon tea, like a crack in a fragile vase. Evelyn's name glowed on the screen, my daughter, who hadn't uttered a word to me in 4 long years. My pulse quickened, a mix of hope and dread twisting in my chest. "Hey, Mom," she said, her voice unnaturally bright, like forced sunshine through storm clouds. "Did you like the cookies?" I paused, savoring the rare sound of her calling me Mom again. "They were lovely, dear. I tried one almond and vanilla. Just perfect. But I shared the rest with your father-in-law, Harold. You know how he has that insatiable sweet tooth." Silence stretched on the line, thick and heavy, the kind that presses down on your soul. Then, a sharp intake of breath, followed by a guttural scream. "You gave them to him?" The line went dead. My hand trembled as I set the phone down, the sweetness in my mouth turning bitter, like ash from a fire I hadn't seen coming. What had I just unleashed? For years of radio silence from Evelyn had carved a hollow in my heart, deeper than any canyon I'd seen on those road trips we used to take as a family. No calls on holidays, no texts on birthdays, not even a postcard from the life she'd built without me. I'd stare at old photos in my quiet Boston suburb home, wondering if the rift from our last fight was permanent. She called me controlling, I called her reckless. Words thrown like daggers. And then nothing. So when the doorbell chimed on my 70th birthday, I expected a neighbor's well-wish or maybe a misdelivered Amazon package. But there, on the stoop, sat a pristine white box, tied with a silver ribbon that caught the autumn light. A simple card peeked out, "Happy birthday." From Evelyn. No love, no mom, just her name. Still, it stirred something fragile inside me, like the first green shoot after a harsh winter. Maybe this was her olive branch, a quiet admission that blood ties don't snap so easily. I carried the box inside with care, as if it might vanish if I gripped too hard. Lifting the lid revealed a masterpiece, 24 cookies, each a work of edible art. Swirls of lavender icing, delicate pearl sprinkles, rose petals crystallized in sugar. They weren't from some chain bakery. The handwritten tag read, "Baked with care just for you." I sat at my oak kitchen table, the one scarred from years of family meals, and inhaled the scent, warm butter, hints of lavender and spice. It didn't feel like Evelyn. She'd always been the type to crunch numbers in her accounting job, not fuss over ovens. But people evolve, right? Grief and time can reshape us. I bit into one, the crumb melting on my tongue, sweet and comforting. For a moment, the loneliness lifted. Later that day, I wrapped up the box and walked the 3 blocks to Harold's tidy colonial house. Evelyn's father-in-law had been a steady presence since she married Ethan, always with a kind word at community barbecues or church suppers. "Cookies? For me?" he chuckled, his eyes lighting up like a kid at Christmas. "You spoil an old man, Margaret." I laughed it off. "Evelyn sent them for my birthday. Figured you'd enjoy them more. I don't have the appetite these days." He popped one in right there on his porch, moaning in delight. "Divine. Tell her she's got a gift." As I walked home, a small warmth bloomed in my chest. Sharing felt right, like mending invisible threads. That night, sleep evaded me. Not from indigestion, the cookie sat fine, but from the ghosts of old arguments replaying in my mind. Evelyn's last words, "You never understood me. Mom. You suffocated me." I'd snapped back about her choices, her impulsiveness. The slam of the door echoed even now. But this gift. Maybe it was her way of saying the past was buried. The next morning, resolve built in me. I'd call her, thank her properly. But she beat me to it. Her tone was casual, almost scripted. "So, how were they?" I repeated my story about sharing with Harold. The pause that followed was a void, sucking the air from the room. Then the scream raw, panicked, like a cornered animal. You did what? Click. Gone. My heart hammered against my ribs. Why the terror? She'd baked them for me. Unless. No. I pushed the thought away. But it clung like smoke. The hours blurred into a haze of unease. I redialed her number obsessively, voicemail each time. Evelyn. Honey, call me back. You sounded scared. Nothing. To distract. I tidied the house, dusted shelves lined with faded family albums. But every creak of the floorboards amplified my worry. As dusk fell, the phone rang again, not Evelyn, but Ethan. His voice cracked like dry earth. Margaret. It's Dad. He collapsed this afternoon. Ambulance took him to Mass General. They're running tests. My stomach plummeted. What happened? Was he sick? No clue. He was fine. Raving about those cookies you brought. Said they were the best ever. Then, he just went down. Clutching his chest. Gasping. Ice flooded my veins. Cookies. Harold. Evelyn's scream. I'll pray for him, I whispered. But inside, connections formed like storm clouds gathering. I couldn't sit still. Back in the kitchen, I rummaged through the trash under the sink, crumpled wrapping, ribbon ends, a coffee filter. Then, my fingers brushed something cold, a tiny glass vial. No label. Residue of white powder inside. It wasn't mine. I'd never seen it. Heart pounding. I held it to the light, fine grains, almost glittering. A faint, acrid scent. Not sugar. How had it gotten there? Tucked in the box. Perhaps? Hidden? I sealed it in a plastic bag and shoved it in the freezer. My mind racing. Poison? No. That was paranoia. But Harold in the hospital. Evelyn's panic. The pieces fit too neatly. And it terrified me. Exhaustion claimed me eventually. But dreams twisted into nightmares, Evelyn's face morphing from childlike innocence to something shadowed. Handing me the box with a sly smile. Morning brought no relief. I stared at the vial in the freezer light. Its innocence mocking me. I needed answers. Slipping it into my purse, I drove to the neighborhood pharmacy where old Mr. Donnelly still worked shifts. He'd known our family forever. Margaret. You look like you've seen a ghost, he said, concern etching his wrinkled face. I slid the bag across the counter. Found this in my trash. Not mine. Smells off. He examined it. Sniffed carefully. His expression darkened like a sudden eclipse. This could be aconite. From Monk's Hood plant. Deadly stuff, heart-stopper in small doses. The room spun. Poison? He nodded gravely. Get this to the cops. Now. Don't handle it, Bear. I drove straight to the precinct. Legs like lead. Detective Ryan Hale met me in a stark interview room. His gaze steady but probing. I spilled it all, the estrangement. The surprise gift. The scream. Harold's collapse. The vial. He bagged the evidence, including the half-eaten cookie I'd saved. We'll test it, he assured. As I left, he asked softly, Do you think Evelyn could harm you? The question pierced like a thorn. She's my daughter, I murmured. But doubt had rooted deep. Home felt like a cage. I paced, replaying every memory. Evelyn as a girl. Bright-eyed at piano recitals as a teen. Withdrawing after her father's death from cancer. I'd tried to bridge the gap. But she pulled away, blaming me for not letting her grieve her way. Money troubles followed, her job losses. My refusals to bail her out endlessly. The silence started then. 2 days dragged by. Each ring of the phone a false hope. Then Detective Hale, lab results are in. Come down. My hands shook on the wheel. In his office. He didn't sugarcoat. Aconite in the cookies laced unevenly. The vile matches. This was deliberate. Ball rose in my throat. Harold. Stable. But it was close. Cardiac arrest. Tears burned. If I'd eaten more. We've pinged Evelyn's phone, no luck. She's ghosted work too. Hiding. From me? From what she'd done. The why not at me? Harold had always been fair. Helping Evelyn and Ethan buy their first home. But whispers from the past surfaced, Evelyn complaining he hoarded family funds. Treated her like an outsider. Petty jealousy? Or deeper rot? On day 3. Ethan showed up unannounced. Face gaunt. An envelope clutched like a lifeline. We need to talk, he said. Voice hollow. Over untouched coffee. He unfolded the nightmare. Bank statements showing Evelyn siphoning thousands from Harold's accounts, embezzlement via fake invoices from her job. Dad confronted her weeks ago. Demanded repayment or charges. She begged for time. The envelope spilled proof. Transfers. Emails plotting escapes. She said she'd fix it. But those cookies. I think she targeted Dad. Knowing you'd share. The betrayal hit like a wave. Drowning me. My generosity. Weaponized. Evelyn knew me too well, knew I'd give to Harold. The man she saw as her obstacle. Memories flooded. Tainted now. Evelyn's childhood gifts, handmade cards. Now seeming calculated. Her adult silences. Not hurt, but scheming. I'd enabled it. Blind to the resentment festering like untreated wounds. That night, alone, I rifled through old letters. You always favored Dad's memory over me. Pain I dismissed as passing. Now, it screamed warning. Detective Hale called next morning. We got her. Motel in Worcester. Fake ID. Relief mixed with sorrow. She say why? Lawyers keeping her quiet. But her laptop's a gold mine, poison research. Flight plans. Escape. From consequences. From us. Ethan updated. Harold awake. Forgiving but shattered. He wants to see you. I went. Holding his frail hand. We both trusted too much, he whispered. Shared silence healed a fraction. Back home. Evelyn's confession came via Hale, meant for Harold only. He ruined my life. Blocking my inheritance. But me? New mom would share, her kindness is predictable. The words gutted me. No remorse. Just cold logic. Charges piled, attempted murder. Fraud. Court loomed. Testimony my burden. I kept one lace cookie. Sealed away, a talisman of shattered illusions. Visits to Harold became routine. Rebuilding on ruins. Evelyn? I haven't seen her. The girl I raised vanished long ago. Replaced by a stranger forged in unspoken hurts. Trust. Once sweet. Now tastes of poison. And in quiet moments, I whisper to the empty house, not every reconciliation is safe. Some silences hide storms that destroy everything they touch.